Vought and Homelander aren't above the law. They can't just do whatever they want.
I feel like some reintroductions are needed, because for this season we have some near unrecognisable faces. The man previously known as Mother's Milk went from a husky big boy to looking like a substitute maths teacher. He shall now be called lactose-free milk. No shade on the actor Laz Alonso, as losing weight is something to be celebrated. It's just a combination of weight loss and this new moustache. It makes for quite a drastic change. And any fun I poke at people in my videos, I hope you see them as the jokes they're intended to be. And with that in mind, let's talk about the ghoul. Starlight went from looking like a bright shining star to looking like a star that collapsed and died. So you shall now be called Neutron Star. As much as this is her doing, we do kind of have to blame Hollywood for this too. Show business is a tough game. If I was expected to never age and constantly be looks maxing, I'd look like Rob Mack within a week. So despite my jabs at her, I do feel bad for her. But with that elephant in the room acknowledged, let's get down to some juicy story. It's campaign night for Victoria Newman, and the boys are here working on a plan to take her out. Frenchie's working on some kind of acid, while Kimiko is scoping the building, disguised as a caterer. Huey's patching in the cameras, and Starlight's here to assist.
You helping, or you just showing off?
Oh, for sure, both.
Let's just turn that light back off. Butcher's here too, but right now he's an absolute mess, throwing up next to a dumpster and hallucinating.
Don't you f***ing start. I'm fine.
Talking Who are you talking to?
I ain't said a word.
Homelander's here to support Victoria Newman, but purely for the cameras. He's actually here to keep her in line. With her soon to be vice president, he's feeling a little threatened. Frenchie and Kimiko plant the acid in Newman's eye drops, but then her daughter walks into the room and immediately detects these sus activities. Remember when she got injected with V? Well, this is what she can do now.
We see nothing. Ça va?
Quite an interesting scenario for a fight. Do you kill the child, or do you take the cowardly safe for TV route?
We need an exit now!
Yeah, I thought as much. Luckily, Neutron Star can fly now, much to my amusement live on Kick. Oh no. Oh, I need to get that exact frame. Just when she's in the lower frame, her eyes look so sunken yet so golden. He looked like a cursed skull from like a Indiana Jones film. Newman catches Huey in the spy van.
Gotcha, bitch!
Sensing this might be his only opportunity to use the acid weapon, he throws this toxic jar of piss in her face. But all it does is ruin her suit. She remains calm, knowing that whatever else they have to throw at her will have zero effect.
Or plan B.
How's it you guys are actually getting worse at your jobs?
Lactose-free Milk is now in charge of the boys, and Robert Singer's laying into him about last night's failure. Robert found out about Newman being a soup after he elected her as his VP, and now he's scared of making a move, for obvious head-popping reasons. As Butcher waits outside, an old acquaintance of his makes an appearance. And if you think I'm just going to lazily call him Negan, because that's the only character I can see when looking at Jeffrey Dean Morgan, you'll be 100% correct. Trust me, the actual character's name isn't going to matter by the end. He tells Butcher what he's been dying to hear, that this whole mission to take down Newman is eating up too many resources from their original goal of taking out Homelander, and he wants to get Butcher back to focusing on that, even if it means going against his team. There's a meeting at Vought to discuss the candidates for a new member of the Seven. Black Noir just casually joining the meeting like we didn't see him die in the previous season. The episode isn't going to address it yet, but I'm going to right now. The original Black Noir is properly dead. This is no fake out this time. This guy right here is an imposter wearing Noir's suit, so that Vought can cover up his death. The soup candidate files are very fun to read into if you hit pause. Talon. Influencer with over 23 million Instagram and V followers. My main interest is the special skills and training. So, special skills are retractable carbon steel nail plates. So basically a Wolverine type character. Lockpicking, acrobatics, and she's 1/8 Navajo. How is that a special skill? It's just what you... What? Why does that impact her powers whatsoever? That's not a skill. That's like me saying I'm from Essex. I'm from Essex, that's my superpower. Training, track and field. Big whoop. A-Train's here who can run faster than anyone else in the room. Why would you even consider that to be worthy of mention? Let's see Hyperion. Okay. Special skills for Hyperion are super intuition. Okay. Divine femininity. What? These aren't skills. I'm going mad. Are they banking on the fact that no one really wants to pause on these screens? Because I do pause on these screens. I do want to read into this stuff. Last special skill is fireproof hair. So the rest of you's not fireproof, but your hair is fireproof. Well, that's going to come in real handy in a burning building. It's okay, folks. She's dead, but her luscious head of hair survived. The day is saved. Now, this is my favourite. This is why I wanted to do a live reaction, because Dog Knot. It looks like a he looks like a cracked out John Wick. Strung out. Okay, let's see. Special skills. Canine telepath. Okay, you can talk to dogs. Wonderful. Night vision and hates firework. Hating something isn't a special skill. That's to your detriment as a skill. How is a negative trait a special skill? That doesn't help you. What the f is going on? I just can't get over Dog Knot. Why would you name yourself after the term for mating dogs?
Hold up. I thought he ate a dog.
He ate out a dog. It's a big difference.
Oh god, that's why. That's filthy, man. Unsurprisingly, they don't choose Dog Knot, as Homelander takes a keen interest in a soup called Sister Sage, the smartest person in the world. She proves her worth to Homelander by giving his character a Sherlock Holmes style breakdown, spotting the fact that he's covering up his grey hairs, and noticing that his body's showing other signs of aging, like having an enlarged prostate.
What?
Look at your hands. You've been washing them more often, so likely you've been peeing more often, which makes sense.
He asks her to consider joining the team, as with her superior intelligence, she can help Homelander with his schemes and remain on top. Her initial advice is to facilitate a war between the left and right, so that he can be a figurehead for the conservative crowd.
The people will tear it apart themselves. Then you get to swoop in, be the one saving it.
Lactose-free's ex, Monique, is asking him to go find her current partner, Todd, as he's been missing for a while. And as they ride in the van looking for him, Frenchie gets a text from a guy called Colin. Who the hell is Colin, you ask? Well, he's the new guy on the scene who's been flirting with Frenchie. And we might as well address the controversy here. Most casual viewers kind of forgot that Frenchie was shown as potentially not being straight, more prominently in this one scene here.
You are my Dorothy.
Guess you're a little gay.
And also suggested by a few lines of dialogue.
That's his f***ing dick.
Don't be so close-minded.
I bet your buddy I will throw you.
What's your thoughts about transgender strippers?
Oh, shit.
To be honest, I don't blame those people for forgetting, as I too had kind of forgotten these moments, largely for the fact that he's primarily had his heart set on being with Kimiko. And up until now, over the course of many years, we have not once seen him interested in pursuing anyone else. Furthermore, no one in the audience knows who this Colin guy is. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the thing that should be the focus of our discontent. This sudden Colin love interest is frustrating for many people who were invested by the slow building romance between Frenchie and Kimiko. They're perfect for each other, both damaged but caring people who are misunderstood and outcasts of society. But no, the show wants us to believe that Colin is actually the one for Frenchie. Fuck off, Colin. And then Kimiko comes out with this BS, saying that, oh yeah, me and you, we were never gonna happen. I'm gonna pretend that we're nothing more than close friends.
To be clear, I love you, but you and I are not happening.
They spot Todd walking into a meet and greet with Homelander, along with some other diehard fans. Homelander says, okay, you guys love me, but now it's time to step it up a notch by becoming sacrificial martyrs. And these soups are here to assist you with that.
I want you to take these bats and beat these gentlemen to death.
They all think he's joking, but he's not. This is the first step in his new scheme, under the advice of Sister Sage.
I think maybe we should go.
It's a really messed up scene, and New Noir has something to say about it.
Yo, what the f***? That was so f***ed up, you guys.
This new Black Noir turns out to be a hilarious replacement. I'm really glad they made this choice.
You've got to be f***ing kidding me. Is Noir sleeping?
Oh, shit. Sorry, you guys, I'm narcoleptic.
Homeland is on trial for killing that liberal guy, along with some other naughty things he's done. But the verdict is in.
Not guilty!
Sage ignites a riot in the crowds, so that A-Train can sneak in the bodies that they beat to death, and make it look like the liberal crowd are to blame. A very clever scheme, that to me shows a lot of promise for Sage's impact on the story. Well anyway, let's wrap up this episode by mentioning one more scene. Huey's dad is in hospital with brain damage after suffering a stroke, and as Huey sits by his side, a familiar voice enters the room.
For what it's worth, I think he can.
Mom?
You can't go around feeling bad about what you are because a few things break.
We open with another Vought movie. This one's about A-Train in his early days, being trained by coach Will Ferrell. It's corny as hell and I love it.
Now please, it's me, Coach Brink. Come back with me.
A-Train feels completely disconnected because most of this story is being fabricated to appeal to Vaught's core demographic.
I'm not giving off too much of a blindside vibe, am I?
As if that's a bad thing?
Huey's mum is acting all casual about being back on the scene, which frustrates Huey. She then reveals that when she started getting back in touch with Huey's dad, he granted her power of attorney, so she's going to be sticking around and making his medical choices. What frustrates me about this is that so far she doesn't seem one bit interested in catching up with her long lost son.
You know Vought killed my girlfriend, right? I'm literally fighting them right now.
Think I have rosemary oil?
Is she heartless, a cunt, or a mix of the two? I really can't tell. Butcher reveals that the thing living in his brain is slowly killing him, so MM kicks him off the team for being a liability now. Butcher makes the valid point of saying that he's not dead yet, so he is still useful to the team. This conversation of course doesn't really matter, as he'll probably be back on the team by the end of the season. Oh, by the way, I'm going to stop calling them Lactose Free and Neutron Star. I've had my fill on those particular jokes. Sage is ruffling feathers at Vought, making a fool out of the yes-men who only want to please Homelander. And she points out how silly of an idea it is to give Ryan a matching supersuit to his dad. How's he meant to stand out as the prodigal son if he looks exactly the same?
The Chosen One narrative only works if he stands alone. Harry Potter, Neo, Luke Skywalker.
One key moment for Sage is where she witnesses Ashley crapping on an idea that the Deep has about restoring his reputation, doing so in a disrespectful way. Sage questions why the Deep would let a regular human talk to him in this way. So the next time they're together, he flexes his fins to let her know that he's the real big fish in this pond.
I am the Lord of the Seven Seas. You talk to me like that again, and I will drown you in your f***ing toilet, you stupid bitch.
Ryan's getting a stage save, which of course requires some rehearsal from many paid actors and this very patient stunt coordinator named Coy. This make-believe acting is quite the alien activity for Ryan, so naturally his performance is quite wooden.
It's gonna be okay.
Do you promise?
I promise.
And I would feel more sorry for him, but during the live shoot, when Homelander encourages him to push Coy hard, he launches him into a building, killing him instantly. We barely got to know this Coy guy, but you can't help but feel saddened for him to die in such a shitty way to someone who ultimately will never have to face consequences.
It's okay, everyone. It's okay. Everything's under control.
Oh, would you look at that? Butcher's back. He found out about this convention where Sage is, here on a recruitment mission, looking for soldiers in this fabricated war against the woke Starlighters. Finding the ideal candidate for a spokesperson in this rising star within the conspiracy niche of YouTube. A very charismatic soup named Firecracker. Why do I find the word firecracker hard to say? A soup named Firecracker. Firecracker.
Firecracker!
Well anyway,
Firecracker!
is incredibly hot, but she's also incredibly nuts. She's passionately aggressive in her talking points, and overly paranoid about the deep state government kidnapping and killing babies.
An order of a hot dog gets you a boy, a taco, a girl, A combo gets you a child they forced to have trans surgery, and a soda gets you a shot of adrenochrome.
So yeah, probably not a good thing to find her attractive. But still, goddamn. Okay, I need to cool my jets, and nothing could take the wind out of my sails, quite like this scene here. It's a human superpede of a guy who's cloned himself many times so they can get a taste of each other's cuttlefish while they're enjoying themselves looking at a picture of their favourite soup.
This isn't what it looks like.
For once, you can be thankful for YouTube censorship.
Oh, hi. It's my job to protect you from reality.
They listen in as Sage arranges a meeting with Firecracker. But she knew the boys were listening in, and this was her setting up a trap. She says go ahead, kill them for Homelander. But these clone guys have contracted pink eye from their sewer pipe sucking sesh, allowing the boys to make the first move. Their scuffle ends up in the middle of a Jewish wedding celebration, deeply disturbing the guests as the naked clones scrap with Milk and Frenchie. Butcher joins in and gets a few good knockouts before being dogpiled.
Get the boys out of here!
Say that again?
The boys are a team, so of course Butcher doesn't get left behind. Frenchie and Colin spent their first night together, but in the previous episode, when Frenchie was looking at a picture of Colin's deceased family, he realises this is the family that he killed on Nina's orders a long time ago. So now Frenchie is conflicted. Does he follow his heart and the season 4 script and keep being with Colin despite knowing what he now knows, or does he do the respectful thing and break it off? Huey finally lays into his mother for abandoning them and then just casually waltzing back in years later like she has any right to be here. But she is now showing some signs of remorse, so maybe there is more to her story that she's not yet revealing.
He's gonna turn on you. Everyone hates you.
As these title cards have hinted at, Homelander is drawing ever closer to snapping. His aging body, his struggles with identity, and needing to be worshipped, along with a growing feeling that everyone around him is just pretending to be on his side, rather than actually supporting his cause.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Not one of you has the stomach to challenge anything I say.
To the figurative and literal left, he sees a crowd of inferior life forms booing him, having the absolute audacity to criticise a god. It's all bubbling under the surface. Even with Sage's plan rolling out, he's not too sure yet if he trusts the plan. The right hand side of the crowd, who do support him, are getting fired up with his fighting talk against the liberal Starlighters.
They want to get rid of superheroes. They want to get rid of me.
Meanwhile, Butcher's discussing a plan with Negan to get Ryan away from Homelander, but they're conflicted about the right approach, with Butcher wanting to talk to him and convince him to stay clear of his dad. But Negan's feeling a more drastic style is needed. They need to forcibly reprogram him to be used as a weapon against Homelander. With Soldier Boy no longer around, he's their only viable chance. Butcher invites Ryan to play this knockoff Mortal Kombat / Injustice game, and the fake game borrows the animations, which I thought was a cool detail. But anyway, this was the only way Butcher was able to talk to him and convince him to come visit sometime. Ryan expresses to Butcher about his regrets in killing Coy. A good reminder for Butcher that this is just a kid who needs someone he can trust and rely on for support. So he chucks away the cookies he made that were laced with a knockout drug.
Them up. Put way too much sugar in them.
Homelander kicks Ashley out of the 7 meetings, as Sage is taking over her duties, effective immediately. She isn't fired as such, but she's no longer going to have a say in these high-level decisions. She's going to be more like a human mascot that the public can relate to.
Company still needs a figurehead like Ronald McDonald or Buster Beaver.
Oh, I'm a mascot.
Exactly. A mascot.
Recently, A-Train made a move to leak information to the boys, showing them that he still has an interest in taking down Vought, with the other motive of winning back his brother's love, who feels that A-Train is no longer a hero. Sage makes the team aware of this leak, vowing to find out who did it, and kicking Deep out of Crime Analytics for his failure in preventing the leak. Feeling sad, he goes back to his room and talks with his octopus girlfriend Ambrosius, voiced by Tilda Swinton.
You've been so distant lately.
and we haven't been intimate in over a week.
It took me a while to realise that this is the same octopus that he was caught getting tangled with at Herogasm. She's having to be kept in this cupboard because he's not allowed to date anyone that isn't a human being, as it's not really a good look for the company. Ashley goes back to her room too, questioning her devotion to the company and also to Homelander, just to be cast aside like she's nothing. And she has an extremely gross but funny line about the consequences of neglecting her health to always being at their beck and call.
Countless UTIs, enough yeast infections to open a Panera.
That's nasty.
Shining Light, the Terrorbird cell that killed Kimiko's parents, have been spotted in a warehouse nearby, and she wants to go take them out so that she might be able to move past what they did to her when she was a kid. They prepare to attack, but Frenchie's acid's kicking in big time. Ever since realising who Colin's family were, he's been dosing up big time to cope with the guilt. So when Kimiko goes in for the kill, he doesn't see blood and guts, he sees bubbles and rubber duckies, which works for me, means I don't have to edit in so many pixels. We then see a mysterious new lady who appears to know Kimiko, but we don't find out who she is yet. The interrogation begins on the crime analytics team, and the very second this lady confesses to being in touch with Starlight, Homelander lasers her brains out. Sage can tell he's going to be difficult to work with while working her plan.
You don't think the next word out of her mouth might have been useful?
It turns out that Starlight and Firecracker have a pre-existing rivalry dating back many years, as Firecracker reminds her that they were competitors in child pageantry, where Starlight used to bully her for being fat and trashy, and also spreading rumours that she slept with the judges, which is just, Cleveland, fill in for me.
That's nasty.
Firecracker warns her that she'll expose her vindictive past and ruin her reputation.
Now I see a conniving little mean girl bitch in there. And when I'm done, the rest of the world's gonna see it too.
With some more leaked information from A-Train, Huey and MM take on the task of planting a bug to listen in on Newman's meeting. But they weren't expecting Homelander to be here, which is a real problem for Huey, who's hiding only about a metre away. So Homelander's heightened senses detect him in under a minute. Somehow, Huey manages to escape the building, and I really can't wrap my head around it. Homelander has the power to rip through these walls and bring down this entire building, so why doesn't he? Seems to me like he's holding back, only using his lasers. Turns out A-Train was the one who got him away, offering no immediate explanation as to why he's helping. But then again, we as the audience know why. Huey then calmly asks Mummy to explain why she ditched out all those years ago, and she explains that her postpartum depression was so severe and long-lasting that she almost took her own life. Not wanting Huey to be negatively affected by this, she chose to leave. Still think she could have been a bit happier to see him again, but maybe that's the guilt still playing on her mind. This next scene is what for me solidified Sage as the most interesting character this season. Don't worry, Firecracker, you're still going on the thumbnail. Mwah. The Deep has come to see Sage and lambast her about taking him off crime analytics. But something seems off about her. She's just laying there, eating a blooming onion from Outback, and she invites him to come watch Transformers 2. When he sees that she's chill and ready to get down for a good time, they get it on. But why is she behaving so out of character? Well, the camera pans back, revealing a bloodied lobotomy tool. The episode ends with Homelander losing his cool after finding out that Ryan was hanging out with Butcher. His cracking mental state is being mirrored by this mirror, as his various inside voices are telling him that in order to stop being so needy, he should go back to the place where he was mentally tormented and stripped of his humanity.
You need to go back to the start. You need to go home.
Yes! The opening of this episode is f***ing awesome. It's hard to keep up a fear factor for Homelander, as by this point, we all know what he's capable of. So whenever he just straight up lasers someone, it's hard to really feel it anymore. But this opening sequence hits different. He's coming down the elevator to this secluded laboratory, and as soon as the doors open, these scientists know they have no chance of escaping. They are absolutely cooked. This guy more so than the others. He ominously plays it cool at first, saying this is a happy reunion for all of these people who Homelander vividly remembers from his lengthy time being held captive here. Some of these faces are new, but they're likely just as bad, no doubt running some horrible tests on whichever suit they have next in line.
All right, everyone, dig in. Come on, don't be shy before it melts.
Butcher! What are you doing?
Homelander challenges this guy, Frank, to a game he used to play while running his tests on Homelander to see if his skin was capable of burning, increasing the temperature every time he scored a goal. Despite no physical damage being done during these tests, Homelander still recalls the mental damage. He orders Frank to get in the oven so that he can feel what he felt. The scientist in charge, Martin, pleads for this torment to end, but he knows he's powerless to stop it. And the nightmare is just beginning. He then forces Martin to J.O. in front of everyone he works with, as he used to laugh at Homelander for doing this when he was at his darkest and loneliest points, looking for some form of happiness.
And that would be the only time of day that I would feel anything good.
Pretty damn dark, isn't it? Darker still, Homelander says if he can't finish a job, he's going to make it so that he never gets to finish again.
Tell you what, I'll give you a little motivation. You get hard right now, or I'm gonna lazy your dick off.
He gives it a good slapping around, but he just can't perform under the pressure, so he pays the ultimate price. Martin's boss, Barbara, arrives and wants to speak to Homelander in private, so they can settle this grievance. He says, okay, but we're going to talk in the same room where I was locked away in isolation, and she's going to understand why he referred to this room as the bad room. The results of this are shown in a very cool way, as the next time we cut back to this part of the story, Homelander is back in the elevator, absolutely drenched in blood, and when we cut to Barbara, we see that he left her alive so she could bear witness to the brutal slaughter of her entire team. His smile at the end, giving us a brilliant cut to black. God damn, man. What a perfect way to end the episode. And do you know what? I actually kind of admire this show's restraint of not showing you the absolutely horrific scene that Homelander created. It's surprisingly restrained, isn't it? Where, you know, the show is known for being very like unafraid to show you the grisly and gruesome details of what he can do. But in my opinion, it's so much more powerful to see the effect it's having on people around him and the people witnessing his crimes. That's so much more impactful and so much more just clever. To see the expression on Barbara's face as she's like looking at this room filled with her co-workers who have just been torn to pieces. And for the first time in the whole sequence of her being here, she actually seems genuinely shocked by it. Like, she can watch Martin be lasered in the dick and have his head crushed by a boot, an act which causes her colleagues to throw up. That gives her no reaction at all. She's just like, oh, okay, John, quit having your fun. Let's go and chat. But she finally got broke. Homelander found her breaking point of for all she's seen, there's nothing more brutal than that. And that finally gets her to quiver in her boots. That, to me, so much more effective than if we were to watch Homelander do it. We get to see her reaction to seeing it, and we get to see his catharsis right here on the screen in front of us. And then, bang, cut to black. Perfect stuff. Absolute cinema. But we're not done with the episode yet. That was just the Homelander stuff. Firecracker's antagonising of Starlight continues, as she sets up a televised political rally across the street from her office. Butcher and MM threaten her that if she doesn't tell them what the plan is, Butcher's going to tweet out a police report showing that she had inappropriate relations with a 15-year-old boy. She plays it fairly smart by posting the tweet herself and using this as a chance to come clean live on TV, saying it was a moment of weakness, but then she found salvation, and Hail Mary, she was born again.
Now, I believe that our Lord Jesus Christ put that young man in my life
to lead me to the path of righteousness.
What a load of shit. There's no way this BS would fly if she wasn't a hot woman. But credit to her, this works, and the crowd cheers her on regardless. She then kicks things into fifth gear by uncovering a regretful secret about Starlight killing a guy when she was very young and still learning her powers. Then, just to kick her while she's down, she reveals that Starlight had an abortion, which is a complete violation of her medical privacy. Rightfully so, Starlight takes action, beating Firecracker into a bloody mess. MM stops her before she kills her live on air, but the fire is already spreading across social media, and Sage delights in her plan going exactly as expected.
First pebble down the mountain.
With Huey's dad about to be taken off life support, Huey makes a desperate move by enlisting A-Train's help to sneak out a vial of V from Homelander's room. But when they meet, they get ambushed by Shining Light, where Huey and Kimiko end up fighting. And it's cool to see Huey actually fighting while not being juiced up by Temp V. He ends up winning this fight, but I can't really show you how. Kimiko beats the mysterious girl, but shows her mercy when she remembers her. This mysterious girl's background isn't super interesting to the main plot, so we're just gonna move along. I had to briefly cover Huey getting the V, so we could see this moment where he's about to give it to his dad, but then hesitates, knowing that saving him will turn him into a soup, where the consequences are impossible to predict. His mum still wants to save him, so while Huey's back is turned, she snuck out the V from his pocket and gave him the dose. Frenchie and Colin's relationship is no more when he finally confesses what he did. Colin beats him but allows him to live, because unlike Frenchie, he's no murderer. You know, Colin turned out to be an okay character, but on principle, I really struggled to care about him. He was an unnecessary disruption to the relationship with Kimiko. Alright, just 2 more points to cover. The first is Frenchie getting attacked by Ezekiel, but then Butcher comes in to assist. Ezekiel almost strangles the life from him, but then Butcher blacks out and awakes in the same room, completely saturated in blood and Ezekiel's entrails, with no recollection of how that happened. The second is that Sage tells the Deep how giving herself a lobotomy gives her temporary relief from being herself and able to enjoy life. And while she's not romantically interested in him, she is down for some fooling around after he scrapes at her brain and makes her temporarily stupid.
I have another flavor town for you. My
And you looked through me like I wasn't even there!
It's an insignificant scene, but we gotta shout out this jab at the MCU, where Vault announced 19 phases of their VCU, with the crowd cheering on this idea like it's actually a good thing.
I love Disney so much.
Funny timing really, as IRL right now the MCU is in crisis, where even the good films that are coming out lack in any sort of real hype. I would like to talk about the MCU in full detail, covering every film as I like to do, but I'm just waiting for them to take a break when they finally tapped out this cow of its milk.
Which we'll be sharing with you all today in exhaustive detail.
Huey's dad is awake, and he can't believe that he was on the brink of death, as he feels completely fine. But when they come to check on him later, he's killed someone, and he has no idea how it happened. He's so lost that he doesn't even know his own son. And when he freaks out, we see that his ability is transferring through solid matter, a power he can't seem to control.
What's happening?
His mind has reverted back to the time when Huey's mum left, and his mind is now battling the confusion of what time he's actually in.
I did everything for you. And you looked through me like I wasn't even there!
Huey finally manages to convince him that he's his son, and the emotional breakdown is delivered so well. No, in fact, I'm going to say it's perfect. A perfect delivery by Simon Pegg.
Huey? Yeah. There's something wrong with me. I can't stop it. I don't know what to do.
Huey subdues him with whatever chemical, but this on the long term isn't going to solve the problem. His dad is in real trouble. Despite the V keeping him alive, the brain damage he suffered is too much, and the kind thing to do here is to put him to rest. Honestly a tough scene to watch, as Huey's dad was arguably the most innocent side character in this whole show. He didn't deserve such a miserable end. But you know what, Simon Pegg is such a massive comic book guy, he no doubt loved every minute of his character having superpowers for his final scenes here. Butcher gets some intel that some scientists have come up with a virus that can kill soups. Only problem is, Victoria Newman has stolen the formula, and there's only one man who would know where she's hiding it. That man is Stan Edgar. Using their contacts at the CIA, they grant him a presidential pardon so he can get out of jail and guide them to Newman's hideout. For all of my American friends out there, you might be confused by Butcher's comment here.
Gotta hand it to him. Knows how to wear a whistle.
There's been many times throughout the show where he uses Cockney rhyming slang, which is already an alien language for anyone outside of London and Essex, let alone for you guys across the pond. Allow me to clarify this rhyming slang. Whistle and flute equals suit.
Gotta hand it to him. Knows how to wear a whistle.
When they arrive, it appears that someone beat them to it. There's blood all up the walls, and the animal testing room, where the critters were given Temp V to see if the virus works, have pretty much all been set free. Newman rocks up and says, "Yo, what did you do with my scientist fella?" But they insist they had nothing to do with it, and their best course of action is to band together and go find him, as he will know if there's any virus left. They find one of the lab assistants has been gutted and turned into a chicken nest, and they realise they've just walked into a coop of V'd up chickens. I love this clip of them constantly shooting the chickens, but they're not even phased because they're bulletproof. They soon come to see it's not just the chickens, it's a whole farmyard of superpowered animals, and the flying vampire sheep make them flee back into the barn. It's incredibly goofy and full of logical inconsistencies, like the sheep having enough power to pick up a fully grown bull, but they're not strong enough to break a barnyard door. I suppose when you're dealing with flying vampire sheep, you're not really supposed to question things too much, just sit back and enjoy yourself, which I did. They find the scientist fella, Samir, and argue about the various options of what to do now, but they need to quit bickering because the sheep realise they can open doors now. Luckily, the V in their blood becomes too much for their systems to handle, so they all collapse and die. They regroup, but Butcher and Samir are nowhere in sight, only his leg. Butcher comes back later that night, as he's the reason Samir never came back, and saying he'll let him live in exchange for a new batch of virus. Last detail to mention is that Frenchie hands himself into the police, confessing to being a murderer, his way of repenting for the whole Collins situation, and he does so without telling the boys.
I am inside of you. I am you.
Samir protests that Butcher is demanding the impossible. He can't recreate this virus within a week, while also recovering from a hacked off leg. Furthermore, to make a dose strong enough to infect Homelander would also make it chemically unstable and would likely become an airborne virus, causing a global pandemic that would kill every soup in existence, including the one Butcher cares about the most. Negan reminds him that killing all soups was his mission at the very start. This conflict of interest starts an argument between Negan and Becca, which confuses Butcher because he knows that Becca is imaginary, leading him to the realization that they're both imaginary.
The real Joe Kessler? He's dead in the Pangier Valley, motherfucker. You never dragged me out. You left me to die.
I'll be back at the head of the table in no time.
These voices conjured up by the parasite in his brain. It's been guiding his actions and protecting him when attacked, just like with Ezekiel. Poor Samir looks extremely freaked out by his one-way conversation.
What's that supposed to mean? You're me.
A character we haven't talked about yet is Tech Knight, a soup with the power of heightened senses, but mostly his power comes from having a crap ton of money. He made a deal with Homelander and Sage, where they can use his chain of prisons to hold any soups that rebel against their plans. The boys don't know this yet. All they know is that they need to infiltrate his party tonight to gather intel on this plan. Of course, they can't just waltz in as they are. Someone's gonna have to go in wearing a disguise. But whose disguise?
Webweaver?
It's an extremely gross soup named Webweaver.
Yo, I'm pretty up. No cap.
At first, it seems kind of odd that this kind of low-life dropout would be invited to a high-class party, but we soon find out why. tricks him into receiving some knockout drug so they can steal his suit. Huey, being a similar age and build, is selected as the infiltrator wearing the sweaty Spidey suit.
Smells like ass sweat and broken dreams in here.
And we find out the reason why Webweaver was invited here. It's to be on the receiving end of some, gotta be careful how I say this, B, D Reynolds, the letter S, and M for more pixels please. I really can't risk showing you any of this, and I'm sure that even describing it would land me in the yellow zone. Let's just say that Ashley gets involved, and she gets very excited when making men writhe in pain. And poor Huey had no idea what he was signing up for, but he knows that if his cover gets blown, he'll be worse than tortured, he'll be dead. Meanwhile, upstairs, the others sneak their way in to find the basement door. They run into Sage, who attempts to run away, so guns her down. The stress of this standoff proves too much for him, and he collapses with a heart attack. There's a ridiculous moment where Kimiko has to use book covers to communicate with A-Train, asking him for help, and she somehow finds a book called For the Sake of His Daughter. That's a stupid level of fortunate. She was so close to finding the book called Please Help Me A-Train, my friend Mother's Milk has just had a heart attack. Downstairs, Homelander takes charge on proposing a new world order where they overthrow the liberal government. But these big business people remind him that doing so isn't so simple. He was relying on Sage to support his speech, but she got lobotomized by the bullet. With her experience in politics, Newman steps in to assist.
But the founders never trusted the masses because the truth is the masses are f***ing stupid. Anyone who owns a live, laugh, love mug shouldn't have a say in how a country is run.
I absolutely love Sage nodding along with that big goofy smile. When they eventually rescue Huey, they torture Tech Knight in a way that he doesn't take pleasure in, by sending his millions to various liberal charities.
And 65 million to the Innocence Project.
And when they threaten to send money to BOM, he can take no more, and confesses to the prison deal. Surprisingly, his butler kills him for being a degenerate who put him through hell, cleaning up his various fluids down here. Lastly, Firecracker tells Homelander that she saw the boys at the party. He finds it suspicious that she didn't try harder to stop them, but she reminds him that she is completely devoted to him and would do anything to thank him for changing her life. One way she knew how to thank him was by taking supplements that makes her produce breast milk. That look on his face, that's thumbnail material right there.
When you see something, say something. Report that groomer when he comes for you.
Vault are filming a kids show with puppets singing about leftists being diddlers and such. Ryan has the good senses to call a timeout before actually dying of cringe. Granted, it's a catchy song.
It's the woke principal and his husband Chad, or could be your uncle who says soups are bad.
But it's another example of the show's writers attempting satire. But I can't imagine either side watching this and not rolling their eyes.
Lyrics were approved by your dad, personally, so...
Homelander is still on the hunt for the person who leaked information to the boys, and is disappointed that Sage didn't spot who was planting the bugs at Tech Knight's mansion.
They won't go public with the information.
And why not?
Because it would short-circuit everything they really want, which is to quietly take out Newman, once and for all.
Now, for this next scene, we need to pay close attention to how long Ambrosius is out of her tank, and still breathing. Without factoring in the time that wasn't shown in the cut, she was out of her tank for roughly 1 minute. And I'd venture a guess that as they're reading the book together, she was actually out for much longer than shown. Why is this important? Well, just you wait. Butcher reveals what he's doing to Samir to get the virus, and tells them all of the potential pandemic that it might cause if successful. So he's got Frenchie out of jail to see if he can help make it stable, and he's really not happy about being out of jail.
I'd rather a jar of fishing lures than to be free.
Oh, cool. Cool.
With MM's health scare, he makes Butcher leader of the gang. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. How long until they go back on this? Using another leak from A-Train, they track down one of Sage's contacts, who's going to be the shooter, targeting President Singer. They hear a noise from a cupboard, and find a terrified woman, who's all distressed and beaten up. But while their guard is down, she makes a break for it. And on the way out, we see her peeling off her own skin, and taking on the image of a lady she passed in the hall. So yeah, we got a shapeshifter, and I'm quite excited to see what challenges this creates. Homelander's holding Webweaver in a cell for making these secret deals with the boys. He insists that he was being manipulated, but Homelander's getting tired of his excuses, and tired of him constantly shooting sticky webs onto the floor beneath him.
I'm sorry.
And so he literally tears him apart. Okay, back to the Deep and Ambrosius. She knows about him cheating on her with Sage, and tells him not to be so foolish in believing that she actually cares. She's using him, and he's too stupid to see it. He doesn't take too kindly to being called stupid, so he smashes her tank. Not a problem, right? She can breathe outside of her tank, right? Well...
I can't breathe.
The Deep and New Noir pay the boys a visit to shut them down for good. And if you're wondering why Homelander wouldn't just come and do this himself, ensuring the job actually gets done, it's because Sage told him not to risk his public image when the task of killing Butcher is already being done by his brain tumour. They get into a scrap, and A-Train gets involved too, with the Deep feeling very betrayed.
It was you, bro?
Deep, just FYI, I have always f***ing hated your ass.
It's a fun fight scene, but inconsequential as no one dies. Well, I suppose there will be a consequence later, when the Deep reports back about A-Train being the leak. So yeah, that's another supposed friend that Homelander finds out is a turncoat. He sees this as yet another failure for Sage, in not finding out first about A-Train, but she reveals that she did know, and him leaking the information was part of her plan. This isn't good enough for Homelander, annoyed that she withheld this from him.
You promised me you would listen to me.
You're lucky I'm not sending you home in a bucket.
After working hard on the virus, Samir manages to come up with a dose, and he uses this to create a distraction by stabbing it into Kimiko's leg.
No. It's okay. It's okay.
Frenchie jumps into action, sawing it off, to stop the virus spreading, and they put her leg on ice to try and preserve the virus. Problem is, the virus is now weakened, so using it against Homelander is a no-go, but they might still be able to use it on Victoria Newman. Not sure I understand how it's different for her, but let's roll with it. Ryan refuses to do the reshoot for the very lame puppet show, as just like these puppets, he feels like they're going to turn him into a politically pandering mouthpiece. He just wants a normal life.
Your family isn't your enemy. Your family's all you've got. I've been thinking about my mom a lot lately.
Homelander is deeply disappointed, but Butcher right now is loving life. His deteriorating brain, however, isn't loving life. The episode ends with Starlight dressing up for Huey in an attempt to bring back their spark, a move which seems a bit out of character, as for once she's actually being nice to him. But the real reason this doesn't seem like Starlight is because it's not Starlight. The shapeshifter has locked away the real one somewhere secret.
A new age of superheroes begins.
The published title for this finale is simply Season 4 Finale. They changed it because the episode air date was only a few days after the assassination attempt on Trump. So maybe the execs didn't want to be accused of being insensitive, or maybe even being supportive of the attempt at his life. It's a reasonable course correction, but it is funny to me that this show is all about taking jabs at politics, with more of a lean on mocking conservatives. But the second they have a chance to make a real jab, they chicken out. And it reminds me of Mag playing both sides.
I'm playing both sides so that I always come out on top.
Robert Singer is pushing his anti-soup agenda, so naturally Victoria Newman's going to feel pushed into taking some head-popping action. And the boys better hurry up on making that virus.
Where's the f***ing virus, Frenchie?
Ashwan, I'm close.
How close?
Close-ish.
Continuing her disguise, the shapeshifter... Wait, does she have a name? Oh, she's actually called the Shifter. What a boring name. I'm giving her the new name of Skinny. Skinny proposes to Huey, and he says yes, because he's loving her recent upbeat attitude. Their renewed mating life is making him a little suspicious. He knows she's not Annie, he just can't prove it. Homelander finds a framed picture of Butcher and Becca stashed away in Ryan's backpack, and he demands answers. But Ryan is now at the point of no longer fearing Daddy.
Ryan? Ryan!
I've got the feeling we're going to see these two throw down in the final season. It makes sense, right? I would like to say it happens in this finale, but unfortunately no. In the meantime, he visits Butcher in hospital, who's asking him to consider rising up against his own father. As much as he understands how evil Dad is, he's not really happy at the idea of being used as a weapon to destroy him, and he's becoming suspicious that they intend to trap him in here. Grace Mallory commands him to cooperate, and in response he pushes her super hard into a wall, killing her instantly. The scenes of Skinny mocking Starlight while she's in chains is damn entertaining, as it's so refreshing to see Erin Moriarty flexing her acting skills.
I proposed to Huey this morning. I even told him the story about your great-grandparents. And then we f***ed to celebrate.
Word gets out to the president that someone is going to make an attempt at his life. And while they're all in the president's bunker, Huey realises that Starlight is being replicated by Skinny.
Sir, this way!
As well as having the ability to take on other people's image, she also has the standard powers of being extremely strong, so she makes short work of most of the humans in this room. But then in comes the real Starlight, who with a great deal of pain was able to slip through her binds. And so the two Starlights face down. It's played as all dramatic and important, but to be honest, I didn't really find myself caring, as it's always obvious who's going to win. She then proceeds to lay into Huey because it wasn't really her he was boinking and also got engaged to, insisting that he should have been able to tell, especially because the real Annie has been suffering with depression and therefore hasn't been in the mood to be intimate. So yeah, maybe he should have cottoned onto it, but I don't think he deserves this much anger.
God, I was gone for 10 days! She almost always initiated, and again, I cannot overstate this enough. I thought it was you! Yeah.
For all he knew, she was just having a few good days, where the depression has subsided for a while. Depression doesn't mean you're in a bad mood all the time. Trust me on that one. Newman calls Huey to basically surrender. She can see this situation is only going to get the people she cares about killed, so she wants out. She comes in to agree terms and call a truce, but then Butcher comes in with terms of his own. The boys live and she dies, and we finally see his tumour come out to play. These gross, hellish tentacles wrapping around Newman and tearing her apart like a Christmas cracker. Naturally, the others are pretty damn pissed, but they know if they attack Butcher, his self-defense system will kick in. He warns them to get out of the game now, as next season, things are going to get pretty ugly. Going back a little, Homelander's telling the Inner Circle about the assassination attempt that will be happening today, and they need to wipe out anyone in the company who knows their dirty secrets. Ashley overhears her name being added to the list, which really should be of no surprise to her. She knows basically all of the company's dirt. She rushes to Homelander's room and injects herself with V, knowing this will be her only chance of survival. A desperate last resort, which makes her body convulse and morph in a really gross looking way. We won't get to see what power she has until the final season. I just got done reading some fun fan theories about what Ashley's powers could be. But yeah, this one's actually quite insightful, because it's based on the show's logic for the other soups, and how their powers were chosen. Kimiko is a fighter, so her powers of super strength and regeneration make sense. When Butcher took Temp V, his power came from his obsession with Homelander, so he basically replicated his powers. And then with Compound V, the more permanent one, his powers were generated by his violent tendencies. And the most interesting one for me, which really gives credit to this theory, is in the case of Huey's dad. He felt like no one cared about him, and always saw right through him like he wasn't even there. These were his exact words.
And you looked through me like I wasn't even there!
So he had the power to basically phase out his body and be able to travel through walls and people. So in the case of Ashley, we can look at her personality traits and make some logical guesses about what her powers could be. When Homelander hears the news of Victoria Newman being killed, he believes that his grand plan has failed. But then Sage comes in and says nope, the plan went exactly how it needed to, even when things appear to be going wrong, with the end result being that a recording has surfaced where Robert Singer can be heard giving a command to take out Newman.
If you'd killed Newman like I ordered, we wouldn't be stuck 4 stories underground playing pocket pool.
Sage then passes Homelander the phone and says you're on the line with the new president, who is making you the new captain of a task force where they're going to capture the rebellious Starlighters. As the episode is wrapping up, we see the boys being captured by some soups we've seen before, and some that you will only know if you've seen the spin-off Gen V. Kimiko, freaking out, finally finds her voice to kind of have a Caesar moment. And the final detail we see is the new president revealing that Soldier Boy wasn't killed. Well, that seals it. The last season's gonna be spicy. I hope. Oh, and we can't forget, Frenchie and Kimiko make up and kiss again. But this time it feels more of a certainty that they're going to be a couple, in a kind of lovers behind bars situation. So there we have it. I know it's been a long time for you guys waiting for this one, but as you may well know, covering The Boys has been an absolute nightmare in terms of monetization and copyright, which is a real shame because I've loved every second talking about this show. And as I say this, I've got no idea how this one's going to go. But yeah, with that said, we've now caught up and ready for season 5. If you're still here listening to me, I want you to know that I really appreciate you watching. I know I say this every time, but it just has to be repeated. I work very hard on these videos, and it just really pleases me to hear when you enjoy them. Well anyway, until next time, thanks for being here, and see you again soon.